Africa Report on Sabahul Muslim.
For this week's Africa Report, we are joined on the line by Mr. Martin Plaut, Senior Research Fellow at the University of London's Institute of Commonwealth Studies and a former BBC Africa editor. Martin, good morning and welcome to Radio Islam International.
Good morning and nice to be with you.
So let's talk about freedom of speech in South Africa, a right that perhaps we take for granted, but others in countries where this is significantly curtailed appreciate more.
I think it's one of the most positive things that exists in South Africa. It is your great bastion against, corruption and government action against ordinary civilians. I mean, over the weekend, you had an article by Stephen Grootes in which he the headline says it all, how the liar Malusi Gigaba was able to reinvent himself. And I mean, to be able to put that out there against a member of parliament, a senior member of the African National Congress, and he then lays out in detail what he thinks Malusi Gigaba has done and how he has behaved. And, he does this without anybody, coming after him, shall we say, killing him. Now, I'm not a fool. I know that there have been attacks on journalists in South Africa, as they have everywhere. But, Stephen Grootes still believes it is possible for him to say these things outright. This morning you have, again, another story, which is about the 1.2 billion rand procurement scandal, which is now being investigated. And again, these are put out by the media. This is News 24's story this morning. They aren't afraid of saying these things, or if they are afraid, they overcome that fear. And you compare that with a lot of African countries. I mean, you wouldn't even dream of saying something like that in a country like Rwanda. You attack the president, you're dead. You attack the president in a place like Eritrea, you're in jail permanently. In fact, they don't even put you in jail. They sometimes put you in a shipping container in 40, 45 degree heat. And it's you just die. It's appalling. So, South Africa really has something to celebrate. You have a free press. I can come on your radio station, which I'm very pleased to do, and I can say what I think is correct. And of course, if I go over a certain point, I hope you take me off air. But that's your choice. It's not the government's choice.
Now, in the middle of a war zone, it isn't soldiers or weapons that always keep people safe. It's the kindness of strangers. So take us through a powerful story from Ethiopia that reminds us that even in the harshest of places, humanity still shows up.
Absolutely. I mean, it is, I used to travel around when I was working for the BBC, which I don't do anymore. I'm now retired. But, I used to travel around war zones all the time. I've been to coups in Liberia. I've been to terrible wars in Sudan and, of course, in Congo. But, there was one golden rule that you had to follow. Ask local people. And local people will always, I have found, unless they're very bad people, and you occasionally find them, but if you are careful and you ask people kindly to give me advice, what do you think I should do? And then you will be looked after. And I have a friend right now who is in Ethiopia in a war zone. And he said to me, what should I do? How should I get through this zone? I said to him, just go to ordinary people in villages, in the countryside, speak to them. They'll not only give you good advice, but they will also show you where you can go, how you can look after yourself. And they are the people who know what to do. They will know where there's a minefield. They may use symbols that you don't understand. A pile of rocks in a particular way means don't go on the left of this path, because that means there's a minefield there. Terribly dangerous. Minefields last for years and years and years. Do you know that the most mined country in the world is Egypt? All the mines left there from the Second World War, both by the Italians, the Germans, and the British, during those terrible fighting that went up there, in which, of course, the South Africans played a huge role. The Springbok battalions up there played a huge role in defeating the Nazis. And, but they left the mines there. So that is still a danger. But if you ask local people, they will almost always not only give you good advice, but they will give you the last chicken they have to keep you alive. I found people in Africa are always enormously generous.
And then the creative rise of Africa. Tell us about how Nigerian fashion is gaining global respect.
Well, that's a great story. It's one that my colleagues in the BBC, my former colleagues in the BBC, dug up, which is a great story. I don't know if you know the prom season in America. It's a very, very big event. It's a rite of passage. It's when young women and men want to show themselves at their best. They go for a dance. And, of course, to go on these things can be incredibly expensive because they would like to have a nice dress that they can wear that, that they couldn't possibly afford in normal circumstances. So what they've now been doing is that they have been turning to designers in Nigeria and Ghana. And these dresses are still very expensive. I mean, they can be, $600, $1,000. But I mean, these are, hugely. It's about a third of the price, maybe a quarter of the price of what you'd pay in America. And they use, particularly in Nigeria, they use a particular Yoruba design. That's the people of the southern part of Nigeria. And they use sequins and lace, and they're beautiful dresses. And this trend began a few years ago, and they now make something like, one of the designers says that they make nearly 2,800 orders in the current season, and they think that they're going to do better in the next season. Now, I've chosen that because it's so easy to find just the bad stories about Africa. There are many good ones.
All right, Martin, thank you so much for your time and for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Have a great day and go well.
You too.
That was Mr. Martin Plaut, Senior Research Fellow at the University of London's Institute of Commonwealth Studies, joining us for this week's Africa Report. 3 minutes to 8.
Sunbeam Steel, suppliers of all steel products.